addict.
Or if you want to be. Or if you just want to be an addict. Some people aren't like that. But here's the thing, you just struck on something. He said, let me see if I got this right. He said that you walk into a hospital with a broken leg or you get carried into the hospital with a broken leg and you come out an addict. Here's my question in regards to that. How would he know?
Yeah, exactly. I think
How would he know? He's not, huh?
I think he has a family member that is in the throes of opioid addiction. I think like it's his nephew or something like that. That is an addict, and I think it's time for people that do have addiction and addictive. That they call it opioid use disorder, according to the DSM-5.
Oh, Lord
it's
Jesus.
Opioid use disorder. People with that need to step up to the plate and admit that they did it themselves, that it was their choice, that a doctor did not get them hooked. Because that misconception is hurting people that really do need these medications. That's what's hurting people the most is the misconception that doctors are running around addicting people to opioids, because that's just not what's happening. If you look at there's a chart that I've put on Facebook that shows that opioid prescriptions are at the lowest they've been in 15 years, and yet the overdose rates are higher than they've been in 15 years. If opioid prescriptions were what was causing this problem, then you would see the opposite. When the prescriptions go down, the deaths would go down. But that's not what's happening at all. In addition,
there's something else that we have not linked to this. We're talking about addiction and addictive properties. Let's be real. Let's bring it to the reality here, folks. Anybody who sits there and repeatedly drinks a Coca-Cola every day is addicted. Everybody who smokes cigarettes is addicted. Everybody who drinks coffee more than once or twice a day, you're addicted. Okay? If you get headaches when you stop taking in coffee or Coca-Cola or sugar, that means you're an addict. Okay? Let's be real. Let's bring it to the real. Okay? Right. I'll tell you right now, I'm addicted to sugar. I'm addicted to coffee. Okay, and cigarettes, that's right. I smoke cigarettes also. Okay, so here's the thing. There's addicts everywhere in our nation. And the thing is, sugar is a deadly addiction. It's a deadly...
Oh, yes.
I'm going to say it over and over again.
Will kill you.
It's not just diabetes. It's not just diabetes, because here's the thing. Diabetes is when your pancreas doesn't work anymore. Back in the day, when somebody was diagnosed with diabetes, it was because their pancreas didn't work anymore. Okay, now people are becoming diabetic because they have too much sugar in their blood. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that when they do these tests, man, I remember this one test when I was pregnant with my son. They gave me a test, a diabetic test. Okay, and you know what they did? They made me eat so much candy, I was almost puking candy. They made me eat candy, drink the syrup. It was disgusting. So they can test the sugar levels in my body. And I told them, I said, I was so sick. I was so sick from all that sugar. And it does make you sick. If you think about when you're a child, everybody can think back when they ate too much candy as a child and how they felt sick. That's exactly what I felt like. Ugh. And no, I wasn't diabetic, but they love telling military women or military pregnant ladies, that means dependents and otherwise, that you can get pregnancy-induced diabetes. Like, what the hell is that?
Gestational diabetes, yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay, yeah. So here's the thing. I think it's a crock of crap. Right? I think that there's... Go ahead.
It's pretty common. Because women, when they get pregnant, especially their first pregnancy, sometimes they gain a lot of weight, and their pancreas has a difficult time making enough insulin to take care of the sugar in their system. So they have to have just a little bit of insulin to bring that sugar number down to where it's supposed to be. It's quite common.
So here's the thing, that back in the day, if you took insulin shots, guess what happened? It killed your pancreas. Okay, so if you had a misdiagnosis,
That much. You get like 3 milligrams a day. It's not that much. It just takes the edge off, when you have a big meal.
but when you take in foreign insulin, especially pig insulin, okay, it would kill your pancreas, and your pancreas could no longer, you would be a diabetic for the rest of your life. That's the thing I'm trying to say.
It doesn't mean pregnant women who have to take insulin while they're pregnant. As soon as they're not pregnant, they shed the 30 or 40 pounds they gained, and they go right back to being normal sugar levels.
Now, that's another thing, too. Normal sugar levels. We did a story. I don't know if you were on with me back then, doing a story about how all of a sudden the UN, or the World Health Organization, that's what it was, people were normal. You had a certain percentage of the population that were diabetic, right? Then all of a sudden, WHO came out with a report saying that the diabetic levels, that if you scored this much on your sugar, that you're diabetic. And all of a sudden, the AMA, everybody else fell in line with the WHO, saying that, okay, these lower levels of sugar intake or sugar levels means you're diabetic. So all of a sudden, like 20% increase of diabetics all of a sudden, because of this new number that they came up with. It's arbitrary. It's not science. And the thing is about this diabetic thing, there's sugar in everything we eat on the American diet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that probably what brought more of this childhood obesity on than anything else is fruit drinks. Parents don't give their kids water when they're thirsty. They give them apple juice or orange juice or, some kind of juice that will add weight to you.
Right.
Yeah, because it's made out of corn syrup, beet sugar, juice, whatever have you, as opposed to, and maybe has 10% apple in an apple drink.
Yeah.
But have you ever noticed and picked up a fruit juice in the store, looked at the panel on it, and it says apple juice, watermelon, this, everything but the stinking freaking fruit that's on the picture on the front.
Yeah, that's probably true. There are some organic, non-GMO fruit drinks out there that are good.
$7 a quart.
Yeah, it is expensive. I mean, the sugary stuff is cheap. But, the point is that this adolescent or adult onset diabetes that I've seen is diet related. If people ate correctly, smaller meals, 4 or 5 meals a day, smaller, like my friend says, who developed adult onset diabetes, he was prescribed a different diet. And it goes like this: eat a little bit, every little bit. And he shed about 40 pounds, lost his diabetes, and he's almost 90 now and takes no insulin. He's in great shape.
Phenomenal. Anyway, so that's I didn't mean to deviate so far from the discussion where we're having. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that we're being real here. Almost everybody in this country is an addict of some sort. So
right.
The genetic, that's where that genetic code comes in. Are we all carrying that code, or is it a mental addiction because we want it?
I think it's both, but it's mostly genetic. I really believe that, because there's only, according to, there's a doctor, I'm trying to think of his name, Thomas Klein, and he wrote a really fascinating article called "The ABCs of Addiction Syndromes," and he basically says that it's actually a very small portion of the population. I think he said something between 5 to 25%, based on different studies that have been done, that have the capacity to actually be severely addicted, or experience an addiction to hard drugs. And I'm not talking about, sugar and things like that, but I'm talking about heroin or cocaine, or, that they will feel so much euphoria that they will put aside everything in their life to have this substance. Usually if people are addicted to smoking, or if they're addicted to sugar, it's tough to quit. Yeah. But if they really put their mind to it, then they can do it. And that's where, like you said, the mental aspect of addiction comes in. Most people anywhere from 80 to 95% of people are able to stop having an addiction to something.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
But
most
then there's
is psychological. It's not physical.
Right, exactly. But that intense seeking of a substance without any regard to consequence is only in a few people out of everybody. And so to punish the entire country for, something that really only affects a small portion is just silly, in my opinion. And also, when it comes to cannabis, let's talk about cannabis just for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
Cannabis in general, THC and CBD are phenomenal for treating everything from pain to depression to sleep disorders to, all of these things. If people were able to use cannabis from the time they were young, and I'm talking, using CBDs in children